been thinking a lot lately about the idea of guarding or protecting your peace. The last Tea with Lee sit-down video I did for our members block and for Patreon was about being a good gatekeeper. And I am in a season of my wellness and healing journey right now where I am very aware of the concept of keeping my peace, protecting my peace, and how little I was doing that in my life previously, and how little I understood it, and how damaging not prioritizing protecting my peace was to my nervous system, to my health. Good morning. Good morning, Lizzie. Good morning. Oh, it is beautiful. Good morning. It is beautiful, Lord. May is the October of the spring. The colors, the sounds, it is just so, so beautiful. Anne of Green Gables said she was happy to live in a world of Octobers. And so am I, but I would add that I'm happy to live in a world of Mays. It's my favorite time of year for rain. The spring and the fall are my favorite times to enjoy the rain. We had a beautiful thunderstorm last night. I'm going to show you guys my little friend. He's so friendly. He's one of the friendliest birds that I've ever encountered. So sweet. What are you doing, buddy? You're so cool, boy. Isn't it beautiful out? Yeah. Good morning. Are you a big girl now? Are you out here? You're big girls. But you're safe in your little coop. Are you gonna be nice to the babies? Yeah. I think one of my favorite things about living in the forest is that I can let parts of our property just grow wild and not have to tend to them. And then I can just call it rustic. You know? It's not a mess. It's forest core. It's rustic. And just seeing new things pop up every year and how they spread and grow, and I can forage on the property, finding new species of birds and plants and learning them. It's definitely been one of my favorite parts of living in the woods. And so being in that stage of my journey right now, it's interesting because it unearths many things that you didn't realize that you were keeping deep down inside. And it causes you to confront a lot of different insecurities. There are absolutely different levels to understanding what it really means to protect or guard our peace. While I think it is a necessary and beautiful thing to learn how to maturely guard and protect your peace, I think we need to be aware that if we allow ourselves to be led by our flesh and not by our spirit on the matter, that it could go a direction that's actually not healthy in the long run. I think the world we live in today, it's probably harder to protect your peace in many ways now than it's ever been, simply because of our access to the rest of the world and the rest of the world's access to us. I think that relationships were different once upon a time, and there was also a deeper sense of privacy because we did not have access to others 24/7 and they did not have access to us. And so guarding our peace, I think, is a big part of regulating and healing and maintaining sanity while making sure that our love for others does not grow cold. And this is easy to do when we've been hurt and we've experienced certain ills of the fallen nature of human beings. It can be very easy to begin to allow our love for others to grow cold. I know for me, I'm in a place where I deeply love people, deeply love people and want the absolute best for them. I'm rooting for other people, but I'm not in a place where, generally speaking, other than a very few select people that I've grown in trust with for many years, I'm not able to get close to people on a personal level. But I deeply love and care about people. Some of the simple answers to the ways to protect our peace are reducing our access, or choosing to reduce our access as much as we can to too much news, too much media. Another way is to begin to develop boundaries, to sit down and figure out what boundaries maybe we haven't put in our life, things that are necessary so that we are able to prioritize the things that we really need to prioritize in our life. Choosing to take time away from things that have not been edifying, that we've been allowing too much time for, and giving that time to things that are much more edifying and bring much more healing and wholeness and peace. And particularly with media, choosing to reduce negative consumption. Spending time in nature, there's something so very healing about taking the time to take a nature walk, to listen to the birds, to open your window and sit by it and allow the sun to touch your face. There's something so grounding and so wonderful about connecting with the quiet beauty, the gentle beauty of creation. Forgiveness at a distance. So forgiveness is so very important. Not forgiving can create many ills in us, including physical sickness. We are not required, when we forgive, to allow someone who has caused much hurt to allow them access to us. Focusing on priorities and promises you can keep. I think it's very tempting when we don't want to have an awkward moment. And in my own experience, in the long run, and this is something I've struggled with tremendously, but in the long run, I've realized that it's actually easier to tell somebody no up front than to get into a situation where we're having to break promises to people. Just being at peace with the fact that there are certain things in this season of life that you are able to devote your heart to and your time to, and there are other things that you're not. And being honest with people is definitely the best. I think it's good to sometimes to stop and assess ourselves and ask ourselves if we are the ones being an easy or a difficult friend. We want other people to respect our boundaries. We have to assess if we are someone who other people are safe to have healthy boundaries with as well. I think that's a part of not putting huge expectations on other people. And so I think one of the hardest parts about this is insecurity. I think so many of us have deep-seated fear of rejection. I know that being a content creator has forced me to do this. It's forced me to walk through this part of my healing journey and break some generational things of wanting to always accommodate other people and getting burnt out because of it. I personally have a deep fear of being misunderstood. I don't want people to misunderstand my intentions. But at one point in my journey of being a content creator, I realized somebody's always going to misunderstand my intentions. And so being able to release those fears is a process, and I'm working on it, but it is life-changing because it frees you and it releases you from chains that you didn't realize that you had. So here is your permission today, if you need it, to protect your peace.